Let's bring our palms together at our heart space and close the eyes. And just relax into your body. And when I say that, notice where you go. Like, do you go into your hips? Do you go into your shoulders? To your legs? Maybe it's your forehead. And with your eyes closed, take a gentle inhale through the nose. And just follow the exhale out through your nose. And then again, follow your inhalation. And follow your exhalation. We'll do that one more time together. And release your hands down and you open up your eyes. And welcome to Astro Yoga Chat. I am Kate.
And I'm Natalie. Hello. Good to be back.
Yeah.
Yes, so we are still in our series of the natural zodiac, and we've arrived at Cancer, archetype of Cancer, and the fourth house is connected to the moon. And well, so in, let's say, old school astrology, fourth house, Cancer is all about mother, home, homeland, your sense of security, also your emotions. And as I'm plunging a little bit into evolutionary astrology now, that's very interesting. So, yes, they say it's also about the instinct to create security, but it's also about your ego structure. So, how your sense of identity is formed, how you see yourself, independent of others, and the filter of reality you have through which you interact. So when you grow up, yes, it has to do with your home, your parents, your mother, but this is influencing you in a way. Let's say if the personality was a different one, but you get imprinted certain rules in your environment as a child, maybe you're going to have an issue later on of how to find your authenticity again, because your personality would be a different one. So it could affect how you see yourself, yeah, how the ego is structured. So of course, if everything flows well together, your childhood, then you're on the path. But it could be, a very different upbringing than how you want to lead your life too.
I mean, if you and that's like if you have siblings in your life, then you know that each of your siblings, you all have obviously your own personalities and your own energies, but you're under the same roof. And some of us in siblings, like someone that might need more freedom, someone might need more structure, someone's personality might need more whatever it is. So that is very interesting because that household and the rules of the household can either strengthen you and your authentic voice or stifle your authentic voice, because you have some kids who might be a little bit more out there maybe, and the parents are like, calm down, but that they're meant to be this way, right?
Right, yes. And as it is connected to the moon, so the moon is waxing and waning. Our emotions are also waxing and waning and constantly changing. So, as for the emotions, like, I heard something very nice this week. They said the emotions is our divine guiding system. So, when your emotions react to something and you feel joy and you're so happy, it's like saying, the universe is saying, like, you're on the path, that's the right way. And when you react like, I really don't want to do this, I don't feel like it, or it's like, it's saying, it's not your path anyways. But very rarely do we listen, right? Like, no, I have to do this, yeah, I'm gonna pull this through, it's okay. So, but yeah, maybe we should listen to that more.
And that's the intuition which is why I respect and love yoga so much, because when you're on your yoga mat and you start to, I'm going to say, like, break free from the ego, break free, even though you're using your physical body in yoga, you start to even like break free from the body in there's this thing that happens. And when we talk about yoga too, remember that you got to practice. You got to put this into practice in order to make these things, in order to experience these things, right? So, but when you start to dissolve from your ego, you start to dissolve from the identifiers that you're clinging to so much. When you're in a yoga class, when you really look around, if you don't look at what people are wearing and the brand of their pants or their shirt, we're all kind of vulnerable in this space of moving through our stuff and being as I'm going to use a word like authentic as we possibly can be, because we have to listen to ourselves. And we're then now almost in a way forced to listen to our intuition, listening to the signals inside. You know, when I step onto a yoga mat, all of my emotions come with me. So whatever is happening during that day, they come with me. As I practice, though, those emotions become further and further and further away from me, or at least I get some more clarity on how my intuition, how my heart, how my soul feels about a situation. So, yeah.
Sometimes it feels like the moment you step on the mat is like the first time during the day where like, where am I? You know, like what does my body feel like? How is my breath? What emotions do I have? Why do I have them? Oh, they're changing throughout the practice. So it's like a check-in space, you know, for me. And yeah, the emotions are changing. And it's also interesting, you know, like, I mean, you know, practicing and teaching yoga for many years, it's like I identify as a person who can do this and this in yoga, right? I've been a dancer. I can do a split easily. Well, now it's not all that easily anymore as you get older. So, am I just a yogi who can do a split, Hanumanasana? Am I still me if I cannot do it anymore because I'm getting older? Like, is that my true identity? Or you know, is that my true identity if I have this body shape, or if I'm healthy but if I injure my knee, am I not myself? Like all these things, we cling so much to identities that are not really the true self, right?
Correct. And the more that we cling to the ego and to these identifiers, the more we cling to the mind. The mind is like the mind sees, right? The mind is an instrument. We use this instrument of the mind. The mind is, we know the mind though. So meaning you know when you're thinking. Who's what knows when you're thinking? Like you are, it's like your true self, like yourself. The knower knows the mind. It's not the mind. So being able to identify when you are in this state of, when you're connecting to your ego, your ahankara, the I maker, I am this, I am that. This is what makes me this. This is what makes me that. I mean, how else are we going to listen to more of a deeper, I'm going to use the word much more tranquil, maybe. I don't even know if that's the right word, but much more deeper in knowledge within us, which is the true self.
And so when we say, okay, your ego structure gets formed through your parents, your upbringing, also like, how do you then know what is my programming, my upbringing, and
Mhm.
what's my true self, right? There's like a certain way you start to listen, like something is coming up in yoga class, and automatically these thoughts come up or these fears come up of poses and whatever. And it's just very automatic, you know, it's like the subconscious, right?
Mhm.
So if you break through, and sometimes like trying a pose you usually don't like to try or whatever, it's like breaking through these structures, and where do I arrive at the point, oh, that's the real me, you know, like all these fears and all this programming, upbringing, that was not the real me, right? So that's very interesting.
Yeah. Um, Also, when we talk about the ego and the mind and the ego, and also, I mean, yeah, this sense of of like, am I listening to my authentic self, is when you start to disassociate from the things that you like and the things that you don't like. When you stop allowing yourself to be followed by your senses. My senses like gelato, right? My taste buds love gelato. And yet my health, because of all the sugar, might not like gelato. No, gelato's awesome, but you know what I mean. Like all the time, okay, might not want some gelato. So we're always in this place of like pulling into what we like and what we don't like. I like this. I don't like this. Keep that away from me. But what you don't like exists out there and it's going to come to you. So like, what if you have a very healthy, like you mentioned, you have a very healthy physical body, but then one day you don't for any reason? Does that make you less of the person, a spiritual person, a yogic person of who you are? No. But that's the disassociation of what the mind tries to control and say like, but you are like this physical and you are this mental mind. This is what it is. It's like, okay, well now we're going to go even further and we're going to say, no, there's a force within us, this soul, this energy that, again, when you're talking about your authentic self, you have to break through the layers upon layers upon layers that we've been building in our life.
And also when we come back to astrology, so it's interesting. So when you have malefics or difficult planets like outer planets in the fourth house, there's always an issue about security, or like with the mom, because the mom is usually representing your security as a child. And all the lessons are usually like you have to find the security within you because it's not outside of you.
Yes.
And it's actually with all the houses and all the topics. So you have difficult planets in the house of the body, and your body is always sickly. You can do so much. Yes, that's right. And you should. But maybe it's not about identifying with this, or you always have money issues. I mean, like once you let go of the money issues, the money will come. It's like always, as long as you hold on to this problem, it's my problem. I identify with this problem. I always have it. It's never working out, As long as you believe in this, it's true, right? So
Yep.
I don't have security in the outside world. Well, yeah, so okay, I live with this. There's no security. I find it within myself. And maybe then the security is also manifesting in the outside, right? Because it was inside all along.
All along. And that's the lesson. And that's the lesson. And the universe and the spirituality, they're giving us these lessons, right?
And one more thing about lessons. So I was talking when I did my final exams in Vedic astrology, and I also was talking to my tutor. I was like, so interesting. So, Saturn transits, some people experience them really so hard, and other people, rarely, like in good relationships, nothing is happening. I was like, why is that? And she said, it's like, looks like they've learned the lesson before already. So there was no need for it to be a problem or a lesson or like something very hard, because you've learned that already. And maybe it's just a moment where, I don't know, you don't see each other so much in a relationship, or the job is maybe not so much fun, but it's okay. And you don't need to lose the job,
Yeah.
because certain aspects of that area just have been learned already.
Yeah. That's a great reminder because I think sometimes people like yeah, that's a great reminder. And there's we might go through the same lesson over and over and over and over again. And just like when you step onto the yoga mat, you do the same pose over and over and over and over again. And every time that you do it, there's a different experience. And it depends on what you're bringing with you from the present moment into that space that you're going to either, because, okay, you learn a lesson and you figure it out. Great, great. How do you react the next time that it comes up? Because every time that it comes up, every time something will come up, whether you fall out of pose, whether your teacher, all of a sudden there's a substitute teacher and there's a new teacher in the room and you're like, ah, man, I don't want to, who is this person? I don't care. Ah, man. Or whatever it is, or you get an injury. And then you're like, I can't go on my yoga mat, like all this stuff. all of these things will constantly be coming up for you. And it's like, okay, it's your opportunity to practice what you've been learning and to practice it over and over and over again, you know? That's why this yoga, and I also think in astrology, like nothing is like claiming to be unicorn and rainbows. Like as much as nothing is unicorn and rainbows here. Nothing is like, and then for some people, they're like, well, it should be. It's like,
But also the other way around. So one of the astrologers said to me, like with a chart like yours, you cannot be happy in life because it's such a difficult chart. Like the best thing can happen to you if you find your purpose. And I was like, I have to say I'm pretty content. I mean, there's many things I didn't reach in my life, many things I don't have in my life, but I don't feel so miserable. So I mean, so
yeah.
also not as bad as people put sometimes. Like yeah, maybe it's a lesson I have learned and I don't experience it that badly. I don't
Mm,
know. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the house of inner security and your sense of identity, who you are, how you see yourself.
And I do think, and just I'll say this and then we can wrap this up, but I do think as well that using the word authentic can be very triggering. Like when you say things like, let's say if you're a yoga teacher and you say like use your authentic voice or whatever. Well, it's like it's like, and the reason why I believe that it's triggering is because in some ways people are afraid to be who they really are. Right? We're wearing all these like masks and all of these layers and all of this stuff and all these identifiers. And if, let's say if I had, it's like what you just said, which is absolutely beautiful and perfect. And I believe that this is why you and I are connected and friends, and we're colleagues and we're work colleagues, but we're also deep down rooted friends, is because you are content and I am content. It doesn't mean that we're not, oh, there goes my thumbs up. So it doesn't mean that we're not striving. Look at us, we're totally striving, but we're also very content. We're very content. I think that sometimes when people are looking for their authentic voice, they're comparing themselves to others and being like, well, I don't have that, so I don't have this. It's like, okay, that's what maybe the lesson here is to like strip things down and say, well, show me what you got.
And everybody has a different life lesson. So I would love to give some homework.
Oh, go
It's
ahead.
the house of the sense of security. So we don't know what planets you have in your fourth house, but just in case it might be something a little bit more difficult, how can you find your sense of security within yourself? Not needing another person, someone else's money, whatever it is. How can you find security within your own self?
That's a beautiful question and something that this is a beautiful question and a beautiful contemplation. Add this into your meditation practice. Actually, we'll start that now. Okay. So bring your palms together at your heart space and your eyes are closed and taking this energy of, how can you find your sense of security within your own self? Where you're not gripping, grasping, forcing. You're not looking to someone else or something else to fulfill you. How can you find your own ground, your home base, your homeland within yourself? Let's take an inhale in through the nose. And then a soft exhale. 2 more times. Breathe in. Breathe out. And the last one, inhale. And exhale. You can release the hands and open up your eyes. enjoy the homework and enjoy your week. Thank you so much.
Namaste.